However, Joe Burrow might have something to say about
Oh
that.
yeah,
That's the Kansas City
yeah.
kryptonite. So that's tricky. But I will say, on to week 16. The playoffs are right around the corner. Baker Mayfield looked cold as hell on Monday night. Aaron Rodgers looked comfortable. Interesting game, but Green Bay keeps their playoff hopes alive while eliminating the Super Bowl defending Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, that's wild, right? 1 year later, who'd have thought the Rams would be out the playoffs, man? Just put the caps on the bad year. You know what I mean? It's been terrible from the start. You know, it's tough to see. A lot of questions moving into the next season. But, like you say, on the flip side of that, you got the Packers who are still in it, man. But then they got to deal with the Lions, I believe, and they also have to play the Vikings again, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean, it's a lot to still be able to clear out, man, as far as that division goes, man. But I think from this point forward, man, I think we kind of got like a nice look as far as like what teams you think are for real, and then what teams are, like they might make it, but they won't last too long.
I'm going to tell you two teams that I don't think are for real and a crazy hypothetical for you. So I don't think Washington is for real.
Thanks.
And they got San Francisco coming up. The Giants are not that good. I just don't think Daniel Jones deserves to play in the playoffs. But check this out. So Green Bay's schedule the next 3 weeks. The 6-8 Packers head to Miami. Rodgers is going to love playing in that weather. At home against Minnesota, who by then probably can start resting some guys. Maybe not take things as seriously.
They'll be still playing for that number one seed.
And then they got
they ain't resting.
Oh, that's true. That's a fair point. But then they got Detroit the last week of the season. But then check this out. You have the 7-7 Detroit Lions on the bubble. Headed to Carolina this week. A home game against Chicago. Do we have a potential Green Bay Detroit win to get in week 18?
I mean, I'm gonna say no on that, but as much as I would like to see that, I think, the Lions, I do think are for real. I don't truly believe in the Packers right now. It seems like everybody just beat the Rams, and once they beat the Rams, they are it's this team for real. Like I don't put too much stock into
the Rams are terrible.
So I don't put too much stock into the win last night. I still think, it can be a good team. You still got Aaron Rodgers, but then they're a team that not only do they need to win out, they just need too much help. You know what I mean? It's not just the Lions. They would need the Giants to almost lose everything, the Commanders in front of them. So, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot for them to get into the playoffs, you know what I mean? But, on the flip side, they've played better as of late. But I think if anybody that we should be talking about that could get in, I think Detroit Lions, but I think they're for real, even like early on in the season, like the competition they played, like they've had one of the hardest schedules. They've been competitive all year long, outside of, I believe it was the Bills, or it was the Patriots that beat the Lions that bad. I think it was they was down to Foxborough, got pretty beat down there. They came back, lost to Dallas, even though that game was, I guess the scoreboard said one thing that was a lot closer. But I mean, they started 1-6 and now they're 7-7 and right in the thick of things. I do think if they was to make the playoffs, they could potentially make some noise, man. So I'm not going to call them a contender, but definitely a dark horse that I like, man. Now on the flip side, you say. On the NFC side, we haven't even switched to the AFC, but I see you say that Giants don't believe in the Commanders. How do you feel about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point?
Boy, the Tampa Bay is terrible. They're not good. They're not a good football team right now. Tom Brady, I won't say he looks washed. I'm going to tell you what I think it is. I think Todd Bowles was a horrible coach.
Yeah.
And we saw that when he was with the Jets. So I think that has a lot to do with it. But it doesn't make sense because they almost ran the same team back minus Bruce Arians.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man.
And I think that's what the problem is.
But
no, I don't think. Go ahead.
No, I would say I never thought that they would be like here at this point right now. Before the season starts, Tom Brady, he gets his Julio edition, and you got Guy. We knew he was returning. I think the big thing, man, Mike Evans, he started the year off, good from a statistical standpoint, but he's been banged up. He's not the same guy. Leonard Fournette, he's taking a step back. I don't know what's going on over there, but then I think, the big thing for them was so much, injuries and things that piled up along the offensive line, and It's just not like you said. It's not a
They
good
lost on
football
their
team.
mind,
The
man.
only thing about the Buccaneers, they are in a 4 seed. They're in a terrible division. I do think they'll win. They do have a tough matchup going on in the Bengals next week. So not the Bengals. I'm sorry, they just played the Bengals. But who do the Buccaneers got next, man? That's a good question.
Tampa. I can pull up that schedule. Tampa Buccaneers schedule coming your
Who they got?
way. They got Arizona, which is
Ah,
probably going to be Trace
that's a dub.
McSorley because Colt McCoy's in the
That's a dub.
protocol.
So, um,
On to play Carolina, and then on to Atlanta.
okay, so the way I look at that, obviously, is they'll pretty much win that game against Arizona Cardinals, and then you have two divisional matchups in
They should.
Carolina, and yeah, they should. Carolina and Atlanta that pretty much decide things. I mean, I think they win a division. It's a bad division, but does that just because they win against two teams that are pretty much not good their damn self. So I mean, I just think they'll be a 4 seed, and you have a team in Dallas going up to Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's been a Dallas killer his whole career, so you never know. They might end up there, they might not. Tom Brady, who knows? He might go on this last leg retirement, and he might just turn up at the last minute. It's just teams like that you don't know about. A team that irritated me is Seattle. Early on, I thought this was one of the biggest surprises of the year. It seemed like they finally fell down to earth. I think you can kind of count them out of it at this point. So I think if we to talk about this in the hunt, the only realistic team I really feel like has a chance right now would be Detroit Lions. You know what I mean? And then with the possibility of maybe Green Bay. But, you know what I mean? I think Detroit is the team you have to watch on that side.
Especially to go back to Tampa. Just picture this, right? Picture this headline: Tom Brady's last game in the NFL is a loss to the Cowboys. If they're the 4 seed and we're the 5 seed.
Okay. I mean, look, I would love for that to happen. You know what I mean? I don't think he retires though. I don't think he can retire for that. You know what I mean? He already got the monkey off his back. We ain't got to talk about what that was. But, you know what I mean? I think he'll be back at it, man. I don't believe the Vikings are for real. I think if it's two teams, let's say three in the NFC, I think you have to see what the Eagles have done, mid season. I think they've earned respect. They're a contender. I do think the 49ers are a contender. And we just had to see how the Cowboys match up with those two teams on the NFC side. And, in the AFC, I think, you have like a same thing. I think, the Bills, Chiefs, the Bengals look like, the team they was last year. They actually got the same formula. They're getting hot at the right time. A team that has fell off that I thought would be there is the Miami Dolphins, who's lost 3 in a row. So do you think they're pretenders or contenders? You think they can turn it around?
I haven't been sold on Miami all year. I am not a Tua fan. No, I think I'm a huge Mike McDaniels fan, though. But I think the problem there is they throw the ball far too much. Yeah. They need to. He came from a running scheme system, like the West Coast scheme, and he just isn't running the ball like that. I feel like that Charger game they could have won if they would have run the ball, but I think he was trying to show Tua he's better than Herbert, but everybody knows the answer to that one. No, I'm not sold on Miami, but however, they have really, really explosive players, so anything is possible. I'm really interested in that game with Green Bay this week. What about you? You think Miami's contender or pretender?
I don't think they're I can't say they're one of the best teams in the AFC at this point, but I do think they are a team that, you know how the playoffs go. I just think they could be hot. Like they could take anybody out. I could see Miami line up against Kansas City, Buffalo, any one of those teams are taking them out. So it's not that I don't think they're not for real. I just think they have so much potential, especially on the offensive side. It's the defense that worries me. So kind of like I don't want to say they're a contender as of yet. But what I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they get into the playoffs and make some noise, man. Even the Chargers, but the Chargers haven't played that well. What I mean, they just kind of just stick around. They're always there. Now
the Chargers
you have the Jets who started off hot, kind of similar to the Lions and the Giants. But then you have a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've seen what they was able to do against Dallas. They're creeping up. Trevor Lawrence, hey, what I mean? He got a matchup. He's going against Zach Wilson. We got the number 1 pick going against the number 2 pick. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we got the playoff side actually kind of just clearing up a little bit on that side, but I would love to see one of these dog horses get on that side as well.
So let me give you this very similar situation to the NFC North.
All right, what you got?
Jacksonville's playing at the Jets to turn around to play at Houston to end the season at home against Tennessee. They're 6-8. Tennessee's got Houston, Dallas, and they end the season at Jacksonville. Is that Week 18 game for the 4th seed?
Potentially, I think so. They're 2 games back with, like you say, Tennessee got a tough schedule versus what Jacksonville does with a game at the end to, to settle it all. I would like to think so. I think it'll come down to that. The
Right.
Jets, they started off high. I don't really think I think they're a year away. The Patriots, same scenario. You know what I mean? You do have Bill, and they got their occasional, they home, that juju they put on everybody when they get them down Foxborough, however that plays out. But I don't think this is that year. I think, if we're going off of as of late, I don't even want to say as of late, man. Jacksonville hasn't been that good as a team, but Trevor Lawrence has looked that great as a quarterback, and just seeing the quarterback play, anything can happen.
Right.
So I'll give them that.
And they have a good coach.
Facts. Yeah. Doug is a good coach.
But I think it would be fun to see Trevor compete in the playoffs. I do think that if they make the playoffs, it's ahead of schedule. Same thing with the Jets. Yeah. I think the Jets are ahead of schedule. I think they're still a year out. But the Jets got an issue at quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like in a situation, like I would rather see, I don't know, because Tennessee, I would say I would rather see a Tennessee in there rather than Jacksonville. I feel like, Derrick Henry down in playoff football, it's cold outside. They got the potential to upset some people. I like the AFC because top to bottom, as long as Baltimore, they get a Lamar Jackson at time and they continue to hold on to things there, anything can happen in the AFC. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's weird because the Bills, they sitting at 11-3. We thought they was playing bad ball, and little do you know they're still at the top of things.
Right.
And then Kansas City is Kansas City, so we got the top dogs over there. I think Cincinnati can shake things up again this year, man. So I'm really liking how it's shaking up on the AFC side. I think anything can happen, but on the NFC side, man, I really wish the Cowboys would have gotten it. I'm not going to say we're out on that, but I'm hoping that we get a healthy matchup against the Eagles. I really want to see how that shakes out this week, just to kind of get a look at what they actually are versus what it was early in the season. Because then we just have a matchup versus Cooper Rush early in the season against the Eagles, and then Mitchell against the Cowboys, and we'll never know. You know what I mean? Like it's built-in excuses for both sides, man. So, yeah, man. But 49ers, hey, Chiefs, Bills.
But how far can Brock Purdy take the Niners, do you think?
I don't know, man. It's
that
crazy,
is a rookie.
Man. It's a rookie, and I don't think it's been done yet. I have to check. I don't think a rookie has ever won a Super Bowl. But, man, they have a hell of a roster, man. And assuming Deebo Samuels, he'll get back in this thing soon, man. That defense, like, I know you've seen that defense flying around last week, man. And, you got a defense like that. It's not like they're asking Brock Purdy to do too much, same as a Garoppolo. But, he has something to him. He has the highest passer rate over the last 2 weeks, man. And since he's been there. So, I mean, 49ers are a good ball. They're a good ball club, man. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
No, I agree. I agree completely. As it stands today, if you had to pick a team to win the AFC and NFC, who do you have?
It's so tough, man. So NFC, which was my preseason pick, was the 49ers. I do think the 49ers are
right.
You know what I mean? But it's tough, man. The Eagles, I got to give them their nod. It seems like all of these teams that we thought was like good, it hasn't like it's been blowouts the past couple of weeks. Everybody has struggled in different places. You know what I mean? And all wins are wins at this moment. So if I had to make my choice, I would say the 49ers and then the Chiefs, man. That's my picks.
And that's a rematch, right? From what?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, man. So yeah, man. But the Chiefs, it just seems like, man, And the offense is just is running, man. And Patrick Mahomes, we don't even have to talk about him enough, man. He doing Patrick Mahomes things. Seems like they haven't missed a beat, man.
Right.
And the 49ers is all Kyle Shanahan over there, man. It's just like he's a magician, man. So if I had to pick two, but I'm hoping and praying for it. I need to see that Chiefs and Bills matchup once again, man. Probably the best game I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Probably, maybe ever, but we need every match for sure.
I agree with that. However, Joe Burrow might have something to say about that.
Oh yeah,
that's the Kansas City kryptonite. Yeah. So that's tricky. But I will say, before we wrap this up, they don't need to let Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. That's a disaster.
I'm not trying to see A-Rod no more. You know what I mean?
And I don't want to see Brady in the playoffs either. Those two go Super Saiyan when they hit the playoffs.
Anything can happen. No, that's a crazy thing, man. It's like, the Vikings, they're a team that, as much as I don't want to fully believe in them, they have potential. Like, we've seen what they was able to do. Right. You call it the coach. So want to come back from 33 points in any NFL game, that's unbelievable. You know what I mean? I don't care who you are. So, we see their potential. We know what the 49ers are capable of. We know what the Eagles are capable of, the Cowboys as well. And we just talked about Detroit, man. So you think about that side. And then as far as the AFC side, like I said, man, anybody could take, Miami Dolphins, if they can kind of just replicate what they was doing early in the season, get the defensive side of the ball just kind of back to where they was, just playing complimentary football, man, they could take anybody out. You know what I mean? I would love to see Miami shake some things out. The coach over there, McDaniels, man, he's funny, man. Yeah, he's funny. So funny. I like him, man. So I think last year was dope seeing Cincinnati making it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be opposed to seeing something like that again.
Right.
So I'm up for it.
I think too. So there's a few things in the air. One is Jalen Hurts' health, and two, there's a chance Ryan Tannehill gets shut down for the year. And if that happens, Tennessee's in big trouble.
Yeah, but I see he went out, but he came back. So
he came back, but they're saying it might be pretty serious. Like, it got worse in the game. So that shakes things up in the AFC South. Baltimore, I'm not worried about Baltimore in the AFC. I just don't think they look right. Yet. They don't have the weapons offensively.
Too much inconsistencies too, man. So, I mean, from top to bottom, I think when you think about the most consistent teams, you got teams that can get hot at the right time, but the Chiefs and Bills, cream of the crop. It's like weird. Like they play their worst games, and we're like, oh, the Bills, they don't look that good. And then the Chiefs, they ain't look all that good last week. But then you look up and it's like these guys, they just continue to win. So I mean, they'll be there.
Right, of course. And then looks like we got the Los Angeles is still in the hunt. The Chargers. I'm not scared of them to make the playoffs. That team's just not that good to me. The Chargers bore me, man. Something about you have Justin Herbert making crazy throws all the time. Like, man. I don't know. Something's not right with that team. All these weapons and one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you're scoring 17 points. Yeah. Usually, like, that's kind of crazy.
He's making some unbelievable throws too, man.
He's a phenomenal talent.
It's weird. One of these coaches that has one of these high octane offenses, not the offenses, but just there's a lot of talent rosters just hasn't shown up, man. Somebody going to make the playoffs and still get fired. I don't know who it's going to be, but you know what I mean. It's going to be It's going to be a lot of coaches. I think we could see some musical chairs. You know what I mean, on Black Monday this year.